What is up, comic book community? It's been a while. My name is Joe, and you're watching 360 Comics. I am back with another video after a little hiatus. The end of the summer when I got back from vacation was crazy, but I gotta get back into it because I gotta show you part 6, the final chapter of the best collection that I've ever purchased. In this video, it's going to be all of the indie books, as well as a bunch of intellectual property, such as the Marvel books from Star Wars and stuff like that, you know, G.I. Joe, Transformers. So stay tuned. There's some real bangers at the end. 3,000 subscribers has come and gone here on Instagram, and we are making our way towards 3,500, at which point we'll be giving away this book right here, Department of Truth #1 in a CBCS 9.8. And this book was actually donated to the channel by Tree McGee 814 over on Instagram. Give him a follow. I've bought from him, I've sold to him, and we've done some trades, and he decided he wanted to throw this in as a giveaway. So big shout out to him. Go give him a follow, like I said, and make sure you enter this giveaway. All you have to do, subscribe to this channel, give this video a thumbs up for a like, and leave a comment down below. And of course, check out all our subsequent videos, and you can like them and leave comments on them for additional entries, and we'll be picking a winner when we hit 3,500 subscribers. If you've caught any of the 5 previous videos about this collection, you know what the deal is already. Basically, I think this is the best comic book collection that I've ever purchased. I spent quite a bit on it, but the quality was there. There were some major keys, tons of good stuff, and not a ton of filler, not a lot of bulk stuff, which was really great. But let's kick it off with the indie stuff, because we've already done the Marvel and the DC, and we do have some Marvel and DC intellectual properties in this video, but it is mostly going to be the indie stuff. Starting off right here with one of the best indie comics ever, Spawn, so popular. What makes this book really special is that it is a newsstand. This has a low print run for the newsstand. I think it was probably about 10%. And despite Spawn being hugely popular and having a massive print run, it's still hard to find these newsstand copies, and especially find them in high grade. Fortunately, this one might go off to CGC. I got to decide. I got to look it over again and see if it's worth sending in or just keeping raw. Then we got Spawn #119. This is the first cameo appearance of Gunslinger Spawn. I believe he appears like really small on one of the pages, just like in the background. No speaking lines or anything like that, but it's the first glimpse. I had a hard time saying that, of Gunslinger Spawn, who has become a popular and prominent character in and of his own. Then we got Spawn #165. This is the first appearance of Mandarin Spawn. Really cool cover. Love that stuff. Yeah, I love the white background. That just pops so much. Really cool. And this was during the part of the Spawn run. Basically, once you get over issue 100, the print run started to really go down, and that basically persisted through like the mid 200s all the way up until like they were leading the 300. So some of those print runs are really low, and a lot of people that want to collect this whole run are willing to pay up for those books. So always look out for Spawn books, anything like really over between 100 and like 270 or something like that. Speaking of Gunslinger Spawn, we got issue number 175. This is the second appearance of Gunslinger Spawn, and a really awesome cover. In my opinion, this is one of the best Spawn covers of all time, and I just really love it. Yellow background, the character popping right at you with these smoking barrels. Gotta love it. This is also a really cool Spawn cover. This is again one of those later issues, number 249. This one is not a key in and of itself. It is just a low print run and a really great McFarlane cover, and for that reason it has some pretty significant value to it. We got one more Spawn book, and this is Spawn Resurrection. This was I guess maybe about 10 years, a little bit less than 10 years ago, maybe 2015 or so. This specifically, though, is black and white, meaning it is the 1 per store sketch variant. So this was only given out to every, all the comic stores that ordered Spawn Resurrection, and they only got 1 copy each. And depending on the run, sometimes, 1 per stores are really rare compared to the ratio variants. But sometimes when stores order tons of stuff, the ratio variants, become pretty common, especially like the 1 in 10s and stuff like that. But the 1 per stores are always going to remain at 1 per store, even if they order 50, 100, 200, 500 copies. So some of these are pretty desirable, and this just happens to be one of them. That's it for Spawn, but we got one more Image property here. This is a pretty funny one. Savage Dragon number 225, and you'll notice that the poly bag here has a piece of paper covering the cover of this book, and it says, "Remove this outer cover at your own risk." And it's $12 cover price, which is pretty crazy for a comic book. This has a very explicit cover. I'm not even going to say what is on the cover of this book. If you're an adult, you can look up what it is. Yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. And because of that, it was recalled and the cover was replaced and so on and so forth. And this was just a lower print run book to begin with. And like I said, a bunch of them were recalled. This one obviously slipped through, so I ended up getting it. And that is a pretty hard book to find. That one might stay PC because I do like those, recalled books and rarities. Now we're going to get into some intellectual properties. Like I said, this is a Marvel printed book, but it's an IP from, outside of comic books. We got the Transformers characters. The first appearance of Transformers in comics, Transformers number 1 from, 1982? Something like that? It doesn't have a year on it. Early 80s, whatever it may be. Great book. Definitely has a huge fan base outside of comic books as well, which helps it. And did recently have what I think was a moderately successful movie. I haven't seen it yet. I'm not a big Transformers guy, but hey, so be it. Then we got a G.I. Joe number 1, and it is a newsstand as well. You may know my luck with G.I. Joe 1 newsstands. I got a collection a while ago that had 9 of them in high grade, and I've sent a couple off to get graded. I still have more to send in. This one might be a contender as well, so we got to take a look at it and see. On to, the next G.I. Joe book. This is, really... I feel like this is more popular than G.I. Joe 1. This is 21, the silent issue. And sorry about that glare on the bag. It is a wavy bag. I haven't replaced all of these yet. This one needs to get replaced. Silent issue, very popular. There were 2 copies of it as well. This one is high grade, and this one is a mid-grade newsstand copy. I'm not a G.I. Joe guy, just like I'm not a Transformers guy. That kind of were around in the same era, and it was really before my time, so I don't mind giving these up. So they'll be available for sale. Moving on to Star Wars, something that I definitely love, something that is my thing, and some of these books are going to be keepers for sure. We got Star Wars number 2, first appearance of a bunch of characters: Chewie, Han, Obi-Wan, the Millennium Falcon, so on and so forth, and second appearance of all the other characters that appeared in the first issue. This is a great key. It had spiked up so much during the pandemic and during the comic boom, but it has come down significantly. It's pretty affordable now. You can get a decent copy for around $100, and this one is a pretty decent copy here. Then we got the book you saw in the beginning. This is Star Wars Heir to the Empire number 1, but this is actually a multi-pack variant of this book that, from all I see, is rarer and more valuable than the first printing from years before. It's like Star Wars multi-pack number 25 or something like that. And yeah, it is hard to find. It isn't the rarest version of this book, but it's rarer than the standard printing. Yeah, this I don't know. I got to decide on this one because this is the first appearance of Thrawn. He's in the Ahsoka show, but I think he's going to be such a big part of Star Wars going forward. I might end up holding on to this because I think that the long-term value of Thrawn keys is probably going to be pretty high. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Don't take any advice from me or anything like that. But yeah, just some thoughts that are going through my mind. Then we got Star Wars Tales number 24. This is the first appearance of Darth Traya and Darth Nihilus. Great key from the era of Dark Horse Star Wars stuff, and pretty late in a run too. So I would assume that the print run on these, Star Wars Tales 24 was probably not super high. Hence why this book is priced the way it is. It's going for quite a bit. I think around $100 for Near Mint Raw. Again, that could be a book that I probably let go of. Not a specific character or run that I collect. But this next one is nice, and I think this character has So much potential. This is probably the biggest Star Wars character that we have not yet seen in live action. At this point, having gotten Ahsoka and Thrawn and so on and so forth. This is the first appearance of Dr. Aphra, Darth Vader #3. And again, this is one of those books that shot up like crazy during the comic boom and has since come down to really affordable prices. Affordable for a big key, I mean. You know, you can't get this book for $10, but it is certainly not the several hundred for a raw copy that it was just a couple years ago. Then we got one that's so topical right now, Kanan the Last Padawan #1. This is the first cameo appearance of a ton of characters, including Hera, Ezra, and Sabine. Those three obviously having a major role in the Ahsoka show. And what's better than their first cameo? How about issue #6, the first appearance of those characters and several others? Yeah, you know, this is kind of the week to have this book, not the week, but the month to have this book, because the show is currently coming out. And yeah, with episode 4 having come out just yesterday, people are really clamoring about it. It seems to be one of the favorites going forward. All right, off the Star Wars stuff to randomly some Golden Age. There was a little bit of Golden Age in this collection. This was probably the best of the best book because it is a pre-code horror book. This is Web of Mystery number... there's no number on here, and I forget what number it is. That's the bad thing about some Golden Age books. A lot of runs did not have the number on the outside. Sorry about the glare there, but awesome hanging cover, pre-code horror, 10 center, 1954. So this actually, and I believe Key Collector does denote this, that this was the last issue of this run before the Comics Code Authority, meaning that this was one of the last pre-code horror books printed. I think that's really cool. This one, it's very, very likely that this one will stay in the personal collection. I collect pre-code horror myself, and I think I want to keep this one. I haven't 100% decided on that, but, you know, the whole reason I do this is because I love collecting comics. I got to keep some stuff from the collections that I purchase. Then we got Judge Dredd #1 from Eagle Comics. This is the first American comic appearance of Judge Dredd. Remember, he initially appeared in the United Kingdom and then was, you know, brought over here through this printing of this book. And I feel like this is a kind of an underrated book, but, you know, maybe that's because we haven't really gotten Judge Dredd in other media recently. At least I don't think so. Who knows? Maybe that'll happen someday. I think it will. Then we got One Punch Man. This is the free comic book day book giveaway. And this is not only the first appearance of One Punch Man in comics, it's also the first appearance of My Hero Academia. And when I say in comics, I mean in American comics. Obviously, these started off as manga over in Japan, and they were eventually, you know, brought to the U.S. Through the shows and the manga and now the comics. This is a pretty pricey book, despite it being a free giveaway comic. And guess what? There were 2 of them, and I think they're both contenders, so these will probably go off to CGC. Then moving on to another property originally from Japan, we've got Super Mario Brothers #1, really nice shape. I found this book a couple times in the last year, really. I think this might be the 4th copy that I found. This is definitely the highest grade one that I found. Very excited about that. It might end up being a keeper. We got to see. We got to check it out a little bit more. And then this one. This one is my favorite, though, from Valiant as well. This is Legend of Zelda #1. I'm a huge fan of the video game series. I already have one on my PC, and I think it's a little bit nicer than this one. So I'll probably keep that one and let this one go. But such a great, you know, video game series that has really stood the test of time. Was popular back in the 80s and is popular today. My 7-year-old nephew is talking about, you know, the most recent game, Breath of the Wild. Is that the most recent one? I think so. Anyway, this is also the no price variant. Look next to the issue number. Normally there is a price, I think, of $1 or $1.25. This one does not have the price listed on the cover, which was a harder to find variant. A little scarcer. It's not like crazy scarce or anything like that, but is more sought after. Then we got Ice Cream Man #1. This is actually a pretty recent comic, I believe from 2008 2018, I want to say this run started. Now, this is the variant cover of issue number 1, and this is quite a pricey book. There was actually a 9.8 of issue number 1 in this collection. Unfortunately, it's tucked away in one of my slab boxes. That would be the cover A. This is the variant cover, but the 9.8 of cover A, I put it away already in one of my slab boxes, and I just didn't have time to go dig it out. So imagine it's on the screen right now. Ice Cream Man has grown in popularity. It's a creepy anthology series. If you haven't checked it out, if you're into indie comics, I definitely suggest it. It definitely blew up in popularity during the comic boom, but has really held a lot of value because it was a pre-boom book. It's not like the print run was crazy high for the first 10 or so issues. Speaking of which, it did have issues 1 through 12, I think, in this collection, and some of those are hard to find. Another great indie one that has a pretty good following right now due to the television show, The Boys, #1 from Wildstorm, which was eventually taken over by Dynamite Comics. And this show is super, super popular. I need to catch up on it. I'm behind. The unfortunate thing about this copy is it's signed to Dennis. I love signed books, but when someone gets it personalized and then ends up selling it, it's kind of detrimental to the desirability of the book, just because not everyone is named Dennis. So I got to find someone named Dennis or someone who doesn't mind that it's signed for Dennis. Still a great book. And a signed copy is even cooler. Moving on to some magazine-sized treasures here, and these are the kind of magazine-sized treasures you want. How about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #4? The 4th issue of the original run, 1985, this book probably came out. I have never owned a first printing of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4 before, but now I do. And again, these are probably keepers for the personal collection, because not only did it have issue number 4, it also had a first printing of issue number 3, and it had a first printing of issue number 2. Now, it didn't have a first printing of issue number 1, but again, a book that I put away in my slab box, it had a 4th printing of issue number 1 that is away in my slab box. I think it was a 9.4, so a decent one. So that's put away right now. I apologize. If I had more time, I would have gotten them out for this video, but just imagine that it's there. 4th printing does have a different cover than the first 3 printings, but still, solid book. I am happier about these, though. The first printing of 2, 3, and 4, amazing. Amazing stuff. Hard to find. They don't pop up very often. Very stoked about those. Let's get into... Oh, I got a couple more. I got one more. One more Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles book, sorry. Before we get into the last 3 books, the most expensive ones. We got Raphael, #1, first appearance of Casey Jones. This is the 2nd printing, and if you know this book, you know that this is a different cover than the first printing of this book. Still a really, really solid book. Harder to find book from the the early days of TMNT. When was this? This reprint was from 1987, but I think the first printing is 85, if I remember correctly. On to the best 3 books. Yeah, we saw a bunch of Star Wars earlier. You can't go wrong with this one. The granddaddy of them all, Star Wars #1. Now, this is the regular printing, the standard newsstand printing of this book. It is not the Whitman reprint. A lot of people kind of confuse that. It says reprint up here. It's also not the really super rare 30-cent price or 35-cent price variant. This is just the regular printing. Nonetheless, a great book, first appearance of a ton of characters, first Star Wars comic book in general, yada, 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 Howard Chaykin, blah, 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 great book. I have a copy already in my PC, so this one is going to be up for grabs, and we saw a ton of Spawn earlier, and you might have been hinted on this one because you saw his first cameo and second appearance, but we got Spawn, #174, the first full appearance of Gunslinger Spawn. Not only is this a super awesome cover, it's a first appearance of this character, and it is a very low print run book. In fact, 9/8 of this book, I have recently been looking, they're selling for $1,000+. This might end up being one of the best finds in that collection, especially if I can get that 9.8. Obviously that kind of thing is not for sure, but as of right now, the Daredevil 1 is the best book in the collection. I don't think it's going to surpass that unless this goes up in price and I get a 9.8, but I think this could be the second best book found in this collection if I end up getting that 9.8 on it. It is obviously not guaranteed. I think there is one spine tick when I looked at it, but it certainly is possible. 9.8s are possible with just one spine tick. So cross your fingers for me. On to the last book, my favorite book, something that is staying in my personal collection for sure, without a doubt. We got another TMNT book. Not number one, but Raphael number one, the first printing of this book, the first appearance of Casey Jones. Not much more to say about that. 1985. Does it have a date on it? I think it's 85. It doesn't say. It doesn't say. It just says it's $2 in Canada. But yeah, Raphael number one. First printing with that monochromatic cover. First Casey Jones. I grew up on TMNT. I recently saw the movie, the newest movie rather, with my nephew, and I loved it. It definitely reinvigorated me as far as this property. It's something I grew up on, and it definitely held a special place in my heart. But now I'm even more excited about having these books because I picked this collection up like 2 weeks before that movie came out, and seeing that movie really, really hit home and made me definitely want to keep these books, because I was thinking maybe I should sell the TMNT stuff, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I gotta have these in my personal collection right now. First time I'm having first printings of issue 2, 3, 4, and Raphael number one. So yeah, they're keepers. So I apologize if you were looking at them like you wanted them, but as of right now, I'm holding on to these. Maybe if I get higher grades at some point, who knows? Anyway, that's it for this video. I hope, and that's it for this collection as well. I hope you enjoyed this, sectioned off video where we had 6 different parts showcasing different things from this collection. If I get big collections in like this, I definitely plan on doing that again, especially if it's like so much big stuff like this. And hopefully in the future, I'm getting collections bigger and better than this one. As of now, this is still the best find that I've ever had, so on and so forth. Yeah, I'm stoked. I'm still stoked about this collection. It's been, I think, over a month at this point, and I'm still jived about it. So anyway, let me know in the comments below what you think. Tell me what your favorite book out of these indies and intellectual properties. And yeah, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And also head on over to Instagram, because I do give not only giveaways but also claim sales there every single week. Giveaways on a regular basis, and I'm doing a big 10,000 follower giveaway very soon, announcing it soon, and it is going to be the best giveaway that I've ever done yet. So yeah, hope to see you over there for a claim sale or whatever. And until next time, turn the page, wash your hands.